Hello everyone and welcome back to the Great Book of Grudges. My name is Nathan and we're back with some more Warhammer 3 news. Of course, it's now SLAANESHMAS, which means that we've got a bunch of different things to talk about. And first up, we have N'Kari with N'Kari's faction effects. Keep in mind, as before, Creative Assembly are calling it faction mechanics, but yeah, it's pretty much just faction and lord effects. So let's not waste any more time and jump right in, because there's a few things to talk about. First, we do have the faction name confirmed, which is that of SEDUCERS of SLAANESH. Sounds cool. There's a little bit of lore in this image, as this is in the faction selection screen for SLAANESH. It's a bit of a shame that no faction effects or lord effects seem to be pointing towards his hatred of elves, but I'm assuming that there will be some special skills for him for that. We'll just have to wait and see. But until then, let's jump in straight into the faction effects. First up, we have Diplomatic Relations plus 20 with all factions. This is kind of odd because, well, we know that diplomacy has been reworked, but we haven't seen that just yet. So when it comes from a Total War perspective, I keep thinking of it as Warhammer 1 or Warhammer 2, and, well, let's be honest, plus 20 doesn't really do anything, especially in harder difficulties. Hopefully that means that soon enough we'll get a look on the diplomacy changes, as I am very curious, especially since SLAANESH seems to have a lot of focus in diplomacy, especially when we look at the second faction effect. Tribute from vassals plus 50%, which is pretty good, but in most cases you're not going to want vassals anyway. This is of course thinking about it from a Warhammer 1 and 2 perspective. If anything, it makes me excited to think as to what this diplomacy rework could be, because if they're really focusing diplomacy stuff for SLAANESH, then it's got to be something that actually works. If they're taking inspiration from that of Three Kingdoms, even better, because I still say that that is the best diplomacy system they've ever had in any Total War, but hey, we're going to have to wait and see. But now let's move towards the lord effects, because yeah, they're kind of cool. Also keep in mind that the effects I'm about to discuss are linked to N'Kari and N'Kari alone. Experience gain plus 50% each time a new faction is fought in battle. Right, so that's going to be quite good. I've asked for clarification from Creative Assembly, but obviously as I'm recording this during the weekend, the developers are already off and I won't be able to get this until later on. I'm curious if this means faction as a standard faction, it could be minor factions or anything, or if they're going by, yeah, SLAANESH is one big faction, Khorne is one big faction, and so on. Either way, very early on you're going to get the benefit from this, and you're going to be able to level up N'Kari really quickly, which is quite exciting. I wonder exactly where he's going to start, as we have no start location, and how many different factions we'll be able to fight at the moment that we start, because if there's going to be loads of minor factions, this is going to be great. Seduce units cost minus 25%. Okay, so I have no idea what this actually means. I've looked at the old stuff that they gave us too, where they said something about a disciple army, but again, this is something different. I'm assuming that this is like, if we vassalize factions, again, speculation time at the moment, we could possibly get a few units, maybe only if they're like Dark Elves, High Elves, or Humans. I don't know, we're gonna have to wait and see. Either way, this is a new mechanic, most likely, and we're gonna see that when we get the full generic SLAANESH mechanic blog, hopefully soon, because I kinda wanna know what this is. And finally, enemy leadership minus 4 for local region, which is pretty decent because, well, you know, leadership debuffs are always great if you're going to have them against your enemies, especially in higher difficulties. So yeah, quite happy with all this. I must admit that the diplomacy stuff, bit weird because we haven't seen the diplomacy changes just yet, so it's a bit hard to get hyped for. Hopefully it won't be too long until we get those, and yeah, again, faction mechanics, it's not really that, it's just faction effects, but hey, Creative Assembly are naming that. I will hopefully wait and get some confirmation regarding the experience gain stuff, and if I do, I'll put that in the pinned comment as usual, and possibly do a Twitter post and stuff. But other than that, let me know what you guys think. I'm a big fan of SLAANESH, so I'm kind of excited, especially with the early experience gain. That should be kind of cool. I just really want to play at this point. Like, yeah, blogs and all this are cool, but like, yeah, I want to play. But with that, let's just call it a day, and I'll see you all again, hopefully really, really soon. Have a great day, guys.